Hi guys, if you recall my last video, I had made a comparison between the Samsung 960 EVOs running in RAID 0 versus a RAM disk. Now the comparison was interesting because it shows us theory and shows us how much faster a RAM disk is in comparison to NVMEs running in a RAID 0 situation. And it's pretty much obvious to most of us who are interested in this that this won't translate to real world results. We are not going to see games loading a lot faster just because they're running on a RAM disk, because most games are not optimized to run this way. I mean, if you saw the disk usage when a game like GTA 5 is loading up, or maybe let's say Witcher 3, you would hardly see them maybe top 100 megabytes per second or 150 megabytes per second. It wouldn't go above that. So obviously these sort of numbers, they're never going to be utilized. And this is the reason why when we load up different games on these setups, we don't see any perceivable difference when it comes to load times. You can use a RAM disk in RAID. You can use a RAM disk and you can use NVMEs in RAID 0, and both of them tend to launch games within microseconds of each other. So there is no difference. Though the question then is, if we were to take a game like, let's say, Skyrim, loaded up with a lot of mods, let's say 15-20 different mods, and then see a difference in the load times, because I believe it's the 4K numbers that play a role when it comes to loading up mods on a game. And there is quite a bit of a difference between the RAM disk and the NVMEs running in RAID 0. It's a huge difference. I mean, so this video is going to be dedicated to Skyrim on load times running on a RAID 0 setup on NVMEs versus a RAM disk. And to make it interesting, I have used a save file on Skyrim where the entire game has been played, and obviously, like many quests have been done, and you know that tends to affect the load time, because the game needs to load up all the actions that had been done. And if I had taken an item from any spot in the game and I dropped it somewhere, or I mean, basically it just increases the load time. So that works in the RAM disk's favor, and I have loaded up the game with a lot of mods. So I'm going to show you the sort of mods I've loaded the game up with, and what sort of time differences you can expect between RAID 0 NVMe versus a RAM disk. For those of you interested, these are the mods that we'll be using for this. I decided to stick with about 18 mods because I do not believe that in the real world most people tend to go above this limit. Even then, I have decided to take mods that tend to take up a good amount of memory, and this is about 4.3 gigs worth of mods, and I'm going to be loading this up into Skyrim Special Edition for this test. Now, before we start the comparison with the modded Skyrim, with the NVMEs in RAID 0 and against the RAM disk, I just want to take a figure on the stock Skyrim running just on the NVMEs, and how long does that take to load. So I'm going to load the game and just time it and record the time over here for you guys to see. Keep an eye on the read and write on the read speeds of this disk, and it will show you that there is hardly any usage when the game is actually loading. So that was about 7 seconds load time, and that is Skyrim with no mods, just running on the NVMe's on RAID 0. Pretty much on any RAID, on any SSD, it would be about the same time. So it's about 7 seconds. I'll record it here. Now I've loaded up Skyrim with the mods. They are installed on the game already. I tried some preliminary testing to see the results before I actually record this for you. But load times, even with mods on Skyrim, they don't make much of a difference. The game is still loading up in about 6.5 to 7 seconds, regardless of wherever I load it in the world. And well, I'll just show it to you for your reference. Time was about 6.5 to 7 seconds. Now that was with mods, and that was running off the NVMe's in RAID 0. So I don't really see the point of continuing on with this comparison, since even if I were to install it on a RAM disk, it probably won't make much of a difference. And even though I added mods and everything to the game, I would think for people who are wondering whether NVMe or go for a RAM disk, the option is quite clear, at least in gaming. It's just better off that you stick with an SSD, or if you are an enthusiast, go for a NVMe, and that should be about it. Really, there really isn't a need to go for a RAM disk on this. How this compares in video editing or in other sort of tests that we can do, I don't know. But as long as games are concerned, SSDs and NVMe's are the way to go, and going for a RAM disk would be expensive and completely pointless. Thank you for watching the video.